You're thinking about getting a Northern Tools tag-along trailer? Well, I did, so you don't have to. And I'm going to go over all the details of picking it up from the store, assembling it, how that went, issues I had with it, and had to correct, and using it, and why I did it, why I bought it. So let's go. Alright, so I just picked up this Ultra Tow tag-along trailer from Northern Tools. They put it on my trailer. Got it on a 4x8 trailer, typical 4x8 trailer, and fit on here just fine. So no issues there. I'll post the link and photos of it all. But let's see, we're gonna measure the size of the box itself. It says here that net weight is 80 kilograms. I guess that's the trailer itself. And then in this box, this whole box and the trailer, it's 113 kilograms. I'll convert those to pounds. I think it's like 176 and like 200 something. Let's go ahead and measure this crate in case you're trying to stick it in somewhere. So the width is just under 41 inches. I think they put it on 2 pallets. Looks like it's on 2 pallets, but the way they delivered it to me, about 27 inches high. And then let's check the width here. Length is just under 50 inches. So take that into consideration. And then we're gonna pop this guy open, start assembling. I got this trailer instead of a rooftop or hitch carrier for a couple of reasons. I have a parking garage at work, so that would mean taking it on and off all the time. And from the reviews I've read, hitch carriers can be very heavy and cumbersome to install and remove, plus you gotta store it. This trailer, I can quickly hook it up when I need the extra space and leave it at home when I don't. Plus it's a lot easier with my dogs getting in and out. What do we get here? This is the bottom. It's pretty big. We're gonna measure and see how big that is. This is obviously the bottom frame. That's the top. That was the first thing that was in the box on top of everything. Leaf springs, cooler basket, or where you want to put the axle. This was the heaviest thing I had to take out of the box. Probably the tongue, and the manual, and some stuff, fenders. I'm guessing the hardware in there. Oh, and then the 2 wheels. This thing's like probably the back bumper, or what do you want to call it? Let's see, you got 4.8, 12 tires. It does say max 55. I know a lot of people switch that out. We'll see if I do that or not. But yeah, that's what was in the crate. This I think was pretty well packaged. This thing took me 2 hours to assemble, and I'm pretty good at assembling things like IKEA furniture and stuff. But the instructions were, I had to guess where all the hardware went. All the hardware came in one single bag. And luckily I guessed all the pieces correctly, but definitely not for the faint of heart. So I would give yourself at least 2 to 3 hours to assemble this trailer. Alright, so let me do a little review of the tag-along trailer here. So the reason we bought this was we got 2 kids, 2 big dogs, and so we don't have much trunk room. So we bought the tag-along, so we have extra trunk space. And I got the cooler that fits nicely right in the little cooler basket. So this provides us a good amount of trunk space now. It holds a good amount. I have the measurements somewhere, but it fits a good amount of stuff. The top is big too. So now we can easily tow this behind the car. We're traveling with kids, dogs. There's a wagon in here, bags, food and drinks in the cooler. I'm gonna be able to strap that down. But there were some issues putting this thing together. If you've ever put together like IKEA furniture and you thought that was hard, this is way harder. The instructions were barely any good. The pictures were like 2 shades of gray, so it was very hard to tell what was going on in the photos. It would reference bolts, but I would have no clue what bolts they're actually referencing. Luckily, I guessed like 99.99% of all where everything went. I put it all together with no leftover hardware. I did have to make some adjustments and corrections in the morning after putting this thing together. I did have to make some modifications, so we're gonna go over all that right now. So the first thing is the axle. So after using it the first time, I felt one of the hubs was hotter than the other. There's a nut inside here, and that nut was too hot or too tight. So it should be hand tightened and then put in the cotter pin. So I had to adjust the hub nut behind this. So I had to do that. And then also I changed the Zerk fittings. So now there's a straight Zerk fitting. The ones it came with was a 45-degree Zerk fitting, and that made it almost impossible to grease it because it was facing, after you tighten it, it'd be facing inward or outwards, I guess, so you couldn't get the grease gun on. So I swapped those out for straight ones. And what else? Over here, the license plate bracket, I had to grind out a notch so the wires wouldn't get smashed by the license plate brackets. I'd use a disc grinder to cut this notch out so these wires would be safe. The wire colors are not color coded at all. It's like yellow goes to brown with white stripe, and whatever color that is, maroon or purple, goes with solid brown. So that was like after I wired it up, I realized something wasn't flashing correctly. So, you know, small things like that. So I had to do that as well. And then the spacers. So over here, I had no clue. These little like plastic spacers came in the box. It didn't explain where it went, but I noticed that there are spacers down here. So that's the only way I knew to use them up here as well, because I noticed they're already pre-installed down here. So then I realized I need to install them up there and on the inside as well. So I didn't figure that out till the next morning. I also initially put the rubber, I don't know, what do you call it, like spacer gasket thing between this thing and the frame. The instructions not explained that well. First I had it up here, but I was like, that doesn't make sense. So I had to redo that. And then lastly, the bill of sale. So my state, I tried to follow everything by the T, filled out the form, went to the DMV, and they're like, no, you need a bill of sale from the company. What comes with it is a certificate of origin, and then you get your like email receipt, right? So that was not good enough for my state and here in Virginia. So I had to call Northern Tool customer service, give them the VIN number and all the information, and they're mailing me a bill of sale so I can take it to my DMV. So titling this has been a little bit of a challenge, a little bit of a delay, but hopefully I'll get that bill of sale in the next few days here and be able to go back to my DMV to get a title and a license plate. But now I understand why people always sell these with no title, because it's a pain, and you got to call customer service, wait on hold, give them all the information. So there's that. So anticipate the titling process will take a few weeks if your state is as strict as Virginia. Otherwise, I've only used it once so far. Otherwise, I love it. I mean, it's nice and light, easy to pull around the yard and put it onto the car. Holds a good deal, and it makes it easier to travel with 2 dogs and 2 kids. This cooler fits in here nicely, so we use this for food and drinks if we need that extra space. I can put a link in the description below of which cooler I got, but this I'll put the measurement of this thing as well. There's already some rust. Literally had it for like a week. But yeah, that's what you get for 800 bucks, I guess. But otherwise, I like it so far. To straight ones, I think it's a size M6. Got this like variety pack, and it was one of these two, but it was all like mixed around during shipping, so I don't know which size is what. But that's M6 would be the metric, 1/4 inch would be the SAE, so I assume it'd be metric, but this is what came out. These like brass ones, they're 45 degrees, but I didn't like them because they'd be facing like inwards, and it's better to just have straight up and down. It's hard to get the grease gun on there, so now I'm gonna grease it up. So the idea is you push the grease in, you're supposed to see it coming out on this side. Alright, apologies for my neighbor, but I just loosened this nut because the wheel didn't spin as freely as the other side. Now it's spinning perfectly. There's no play when I shake it. But it looks like it used to be there. So this used to be turned like 1/4 or 1/3 more that way. I loosened it up with the tool, and then I read that you're supposed to tighten it by hand and then back it off just enough, a little, to put the cotter pin in. And it feels and looks perfect now. Something to think about if one of your hubs are feeling too hot or not spinning well enough after using it and whatnot. But yeah, it looks like it came greased well. It's hard to see, but there's grease in there. Look at the tire one more time. So it's a Journey, and there's the description on the side. 4.8. Here's some more information. Don't know what all that means, but like I said, I think that 72M means 70 miles an hour or something. Regarding to the tire, it tells you about the speed and everything. So the tire came with a 71M, which is the load and speed. If we go to the table here, 761 pounds per tire. Not that I'd ever even get close to that. And then for the speed rating, look at that table. It's rated for 81 miles per hour. So I'm not sure why the tire says 55 miles per hour. It is rated for 761 pounds, 81 miles per hour, and then I guess 60 psi. Okay, so a few things I want to mention about the manual. So like looking at the instructions, they always reference, they point to the bolt, and they say use lock nuts 33, washers 31. They'll say things like lock nut 34, use bolts 23, lock nuts 32, washers 32. And I was like, what are they talking about? Then I realized, if you go to the parts list, this is what they're talking about. So like the bolts will have a number here, and then that's the actual size of the bolt. So if you really wanted to, you could print out a reference guide of what an M10 by 40 bolt looks like, and print all these like actual size images out, so you can then reference and figure out what exactly they're telling you to use in that specific instruction. I did not think of that till after the fact, but if you're nervous about using the wrong hardware, you can get like a reference sheet, what exactly all these sizes look like, and then you have a very good success rate on using the correct hardware. Just a quick update on the bill of sale. It did arrive the other day, so I got that. So I'll be taking that to the DMV to get it titled. So that was nice that Northern Tool was very responsive on getting that to me so that I can properly title. It looks like they had it notarized. But any other questions you have on this trailer, please let me know and I'll answer it. But hopefully I covered all that I could think of. But yeah, that's how she looks. I couldn't find anything on the internet really about this, so that's why I'm putting this out there. Oh yeah, there's a little kickstand here when you're storing it, and then this thing just pops back up and stows sitting upwards. And I'll probably put a spare tire under here somewhere just in case too. But yeah, this kickstand's pretty cool. And of course it takes a 1 7/8 inch ball hitch. So I think we're wrapping it up there. hopefully that'll help someone out to make a decision on getting this or not. But yeah, looking great as extra cargo space for when we need it. We're taking the kids and dogs somewhere. Out.